Hi, I'm Ian from Sacred Hearth Friction Fire, and this is the third and final video in the Nettle Cordage series. So in this one, I'm going to show you how I use Nettle Cordage with a bow drill and use it effectively so it doesn't snap first go, and basically so it lasts for a few embers. Natural cordage isn't the most exciting of topics, but without string you don't have a bow drill, so it's a very important aspect, and I'm very passionate about using natural cordage with a bow drill. Synthetic cordage, it's modern, it's plastic. We've got too much plastic in this world and we don't need it. Our ancestors didn't have synthetic cordage, and really I just don't feel there's a need. Yes, making your own cordage is a little bit time consuming, and I don't use that own made cordage all the time. I do use shop bought natural cordage as well, but especially for ritual, I think it's, for me, I only use homemade natural cordage when I'm welcoming fire within ritual, and it's just, just the time spent collecting and processing materials, making the cordage with your hands. It's all part of the process to me, and I feel it's a very important aspect. Natural cordage isn't difficult, and I think one of the fallacies is about the way that bow drill is taught in a modern setting, and that it's being taught with synthetic cordage in mind. So with synthetic cordage, you have the string very tight on your bow, and that puts the cord under intense pressure. But as it's synthetic, it's very strong and it's not going to snap or stretch. Now with natural cordage, you put that under a lot of pressure, it's not going to take long till it snaps. So it's just about slightly changing your technique. So so the way I teach friction fire is slightly different to modern bushcraft. I use natural cordage in my teaching. I don't use synthetic cordage. Cordage, it may not be the most exciting, but this is a core aspect of friction fire, and yeah, I'm very passionate about natural cordage. So today I'll show you how I use homemade natural cordage with a bow drill. There's also part 1, which is about how to collect and process nettles, and part 2 on how I twist the fibres into cordage. Before we even start using the cord, important thing about using natural cordage, and actually even if you're not, is about making sure your bow drill kit is as good as it can be. So you want the spindle straight, you don't want any rough bits on it because you don't want that catching on your cord. If you want the spindle to be spinning straight, you want the wood quality to be right, because any inefficiencies means it's going to be more difficult to coat to fire, so then you're actually putting more strain on your cord, which means more time that your cord is in use. So in one way, you do want an effective kit. Yes, for ritually welcoming fire, it doesn't matter how long it takes. So I'm not saying that we need to do it, we need to do this quickly. I'm just saying that the less imperfections are in your kit, then the longer your cord will last. So I'm simply going to tie my nettle cord to the top of my bow. So for me, the important thing is not having your cord under immense pressure. So for that, I usually use at least 3 wraps of cord around my drill, rather than one, which people may use when you're using synthetic cord. So it gives additional grip and means your cord isn't under as much pressure, because with more wraps around the drill, you don't need it as tight. Still need it taut, but you don't need it so as tight as you do with one wrap of synthetic cord. I don't tie my cord to the end of the other end of the bow anymore. I just hold it in my hand. So what I'll do, I'll twist it around my finger to then get it tight, then I'll just pull it tight in my hand. Then if I need to tighten it, I'll just put an extra wrap around my finger so that means that I don't have to keep adjusting the cord the knot or whatever on the bow. So and I feel that works well. So if it needs it tighter, I just pull it tighter. Okay, so now I'm going to start just by burning in the notch. Also, as you may have seen from some of my other videos, I'm all about taking your time and going slow. Especially that is important with natural cordage as well, because if you go fast, you've just got a high chance of breaking your cord. And you've spent all this time making a cord, you want it to last. So I'm just going to burn in the set. It's just going to go slowly. And with homemade cord, it is going to stretch a bit. Also why it's good to hold the end of your cord in your hand, because at the start your cord is going to stretch, so you may have to keep adjusting. So I'm just going slowly and steadily. Applying good pressure. Burnt in divot, burnt in the spindle. So now we're going to cut a notch and then try and coax out the Ancestral fire. You want to have your notch to be as good as you can get it. So you want your pie slice topping just before the centre, not too narrow, not too wide, because that's all important too. Okay, so I've cut my notch. So now I'm going to coax the embryonic Ancestral fire out of hiding from the wood. So again, I've got 3 twists on my cord. So taking the end of that cord, wrapping it around my finger. And pulling the cord tight against the boat. And I'm slowly moving the bow backwards and forwards. Just steadily. I'm just going to keep it a steady rhythm. Cord slipping a bit, so I'm just tightening up a little bit. So what I'm doing now is just building up the dust pile. So just going slowly, there's no need to go fast. I'm using the whole length of the bow rather than doing jagged movements. Let's get a prize. So that squeaking indicates it's not got enough pressure, so just pressing down a little bit more. Just continuing, going slowly. Now, when you've got a good amount of dust, and you can see at the top of the pile, you may want to speed up a little bit. So I just made a few small adjustments in the set. Okay, I can now see the dust rising from the dust pile. So I'm going to gently ease us out. So there you go. We have coaxed the ancestral fire out of hiding from the wood using own-made natural cordage. Welcome, welcome. Blessings on the ancestral fire. There's still some life in this cord. Yeah, it's a little bit frayed at points. I can't really see any weak points on this at the moment. Yeah, that was one ember. So I'd hope to get quite a few embers out of one piece of homemade natural cordage. So yeah, if you're not putting immense pressure under it, then it is going to last longer. Blessings on the ancestral fire. Blessings on student.